path taken by emigrants to Oregon, Salt Lake City, California, the silver and gold fields of Pikes Peak and the Sierra foothills. In fact, Fort Kearny stood in the way of just about any place you wanted to go west of the Missouri. It a frontier supercenter where nearly anything you needed to continue along the trail, flour, wagon wheels, a nip or two, could be obtained at the fort or nearby village. You might find a doctor, or at least someone who called himself one. If the local Indians were on the warpath, the soldiers could be roused to protect you. But its most important offering tonight was the metal device clicking inside the building the Pony Rider was pacing around. A telegraph. A telegraph? Pony Express? Didn't the former kill the latter? Not exactly. The real story of the Pony Express, like the history of the Old West and America in general, is far more complicated and nuanced than most of us learned in school. The pony, legendary conqueror of space and time, harbinger of progress, existed on the cusp of great change, partook of that revolution, and both affected and was consumed by it. The service did one thing: deliver mail and assorted telegraph messages, mostly in connection with the postal service, though the pony itself was a private concern, and it did it very well and very quickly. 10 days from Missouri to Sacramento, a time so quick that grown men practically wept at the idea. They cheered and hosannaed and generally loved the notion, even though most wouldn't spend the $5 it cost to send a letter that whole distance. It was the idea that counted. Debuting in April 1860, the pony got faster and cheaper as time went on. Men applauded even more, but still were reluctant to pay. The idea of speed was the intoxicating thing. America in the fall of 1860, the high point of the pony and about midway through its brief 18-month existence, was itself a melange of contradictions. On the brink of civil war, the country was a heap of technological change: steam power, electricity, flush toilets, and modern sewers. The nation was transforming itself at a pace even faster than in our own time. Bold, rugged, and innovative, the Pony Express was of its time an almost perfect embodiment of 1860 America. In the end, it succeeded in breaking out of that time, becoming a touchstone not just of the past, but equally of the endlessly promising future suggested by speed, information, and distance. We tend to think of the pony as a narrow straight line, a clean flash across 2/3 of the country. But the service was more like the multi-strand filaments of a lightning storm. There was a main shaft, the bolt of riders relaying across the country from home station to home station at what was then warp speed. At the same time, there were branches and one-offs, occasional detours, and even retreats. The pony was always part of a larger communication system, with branches and routes that spread out from the main line. Much of the information the pony carried was meant to be shared, and it was, quickly, with all means available: telegraph, the printing press, word of mouth. Legends and tall tales crisscrossed it all, meandering across the plains and over the mountains, following in the dust of the pony's hoofbeats from first to last. The Pony Rider may never have detoured, but the stories often did, and that remains a good part of its charm. Those of us who have lived through the late 20th and early 21st centuries may think we invented the idea that information is a commodity. The pony reminds us that not only was information a prized commodity in the 19th century, but that it has always been, one prized so highly that humans will drop old habits of gathering or sharing it quite readily if some new method promises more speed and efficiency. Communication, rapid and sure, was the pony's original mission. But something else was born with the service, something far less ephemeral than a whisper, more potent than lightning. The pony became legend embodied even before the first rider set off from St. Joseph, Missouri and Sacramento, California. The successful arrival of the mail packets at their respective destinations cemented that status. And the ultimate irony: the pony was never meant as an end in itself, but rather as a means to another goal.